We're in the Big Apple, New York City Field, and it is a chilly night. Temperatures already in the high 40s for the opening game of a 4-game series between the Cincinnati Reds and the 14-13 New York Mets. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Tanner Roark getting the nod so far here tonight. And, you know, Chris, he talked his last start about the inability to put hitters away. But his overall numbers are still pretty good.
Well, the inability to put runners away for Tanner Roark has kind of been with him for quite a long time, but maybe more so this year than ever before. His last few starts have been not that bad at all, actually. In fact, he convinced David Bell to stay out there for one extra out to finally get out of the fifth inning. But he's a guy that's going to have to use all of his pitches to do that. He's a friendly foe here in New York. He pitched against this Mets team 5 times last year, so they just know just about everything about him. No tricks up his sleeve tonight for Tanner Roark.
All right, let's talk about these New York Mets. They were wheeling and dealing quite a bit during the offseason, but tonight, no Robinson Cano. He was hit by a pitch yesterday, and we don't know when he's coming back.
Well, they've got some injuries. There's no question about it, but they had some big-time additions in the offseason. They've got a new closer in Edwin Diaz, a new catcher in Wilson Ramos. Lowry is injured right now. They're in second place. They're behind the Philadelphia Phillies, but they're within striking distance. They feel, though, that if they can get their starting pitching together, and right now that has been their Achilles heel, but it's always been a sign of strength for the Mets. Their pitching, if they can get it together, they can hang with anybody in this division.
Tell you one guy who's making a lot of news is this youngster, Pete Alonso.
Well, I mean, when he makes a lot of news and he makes a lot of noise, that is when he makes contact. This guy hits the ball about as hard as anybody in the league and about as far as anybody in the league. It's all about making contact for Alonso, and so far, so good. 9 home runs, 24 driven in. So he's a guy that you've got to make sure that you know where he is in the on-deck circle, when he's coming up, and pitch to the guys ahead of him accordingly.
Now, the Mets starter tonight, the numbers are very misleading. He had one start where he didn't get a single out. Outside of that, this guy's been really good.
You know, he's been around a lot longer than you think, too. He missed 1 year with Tommy John surgery, but now that he's finally beginning to mature, he's 28 years old. He's a guy that throws very hard. I mean, almost 100 miles an hour. He's got a very good slider. But tonight, look for a little bit more in the way of a slower breaking pitch. It seems like it's all of a sudden all coming together now for Zach Wheeler. And when that happens, boy, he's got the kind of arm that can go a long, long way.
All right, when we come back, we'll check in with the main man on the Reds beat. You know who that is, Jim Day, talking about taking a bite out of the Big Apple. Even going to be talking about Joey Votto taking a bite out of the Big Apple.
Kick off a 4-game set from Flushing, New York, and the Reds hope that their bats are not cold, and hopefully they'll look back at some of the numbers, particularly 3 guys that have good numbers against the Mets to kickstart things. It's our Scots triple threat, Tucker Barnhart, Suarez, and Votto, all with good numbers against the Mets. David Bell continues to tinker with the lineup. Joey Votto goes from leadoff to the 2 spot tonight, and Jose Peraza moves up into that leadoff spot. I asked the skipper about his reasoning.
You know, we like how Jose has been swinging the bat. The results we feel like are around the corner. He's been getting some hits, taking better swings. Really, I mean, it's just a matter of, you know, trying to look for little ways to string offense together. You know, we've had days, but just get a little more consistency with, you know, being able to get more opportunities. And we've been hitting someone in front of Joey in the 9th spot, and today really just trying something different, try to get into a flow offensively of trying to, you know, string some things together.
Hasn't been the best of successes for the Reds here in Flushing, New York in recent years. Well, starting tonight, they hope to flush away the past. Up next, lineups, first pitch, all the play-by-play action. Tom and Chris standing by.
Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup, only your tri-state Chevy dealer. By Cincinnati Children's Hospital, changing the outcome together. By Furniture Fair, for style and flair, choose Furniture Fair. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. Game time. Small crowd on a cold night. Just outside of New York City David Bell and the Reds won the opener of this road trip in St. Louis, dropped the last two. And now look at the Furniture Fair starting lineup, and Jose Peraza moved into the leadoff spot. Joey Votto to the 2-hole with Suarez batting third. Winker, Puig, and Schebler in the middle. Iglesias, Barnhart, and Roark, the pitcher, batting ninth. And they are going against one mighty tough customer here tonight. Outside of one bad game, Zach Wheeler has been on his game going back to last year.
Well, he just about single-handedly beat the Phillies his last time out. He went 7 innings of shutout baseball, 11 strikeouts, and also hit a home run in that game. So he's a guy that is on top of his game right now. Hard thrower, good breaking stuff, really beginning to feel his feet under him, and pretty good pitcher right now.
First pitch swinging, Jose Peraza. That didn't take long. 1 pitch and 1 out. Peraza moved into the leadoff spot. You a little bit surprised by that?
Well, I'm a little surprised he's going to swing at the first pitch like that if he's going to be a leadoff hitter. I mean, what he's doing right now is not working for him. So, you've got the reason that he's in the leadoff spot is because David Bell's trying to just kind of shake it up a little bit, hoping to get something going. But you have to have an idea that when you're in the leadoff spot, a lot of guys are going to try to ambush a first pitch fastball, but Peraza's not that type of hitter. Work it a little bit. Don't be afraid of a strikeout, and just see if you can give your team a chance to put the pitcher under pressure on him a little bit.
Joey Votto at .233, 3 home runs, 5 runs batted in, on base percentage at .340. The Reds began the season at 1-8. Since then, they've gone 10-8. There's a swing and a miss. And 6-4 over their last 10. It was disappointing after you win that first game in St. Louis to drop the next 2, but you try and right the ship here in New York.
Yeah, they've really had a difficult time. This ball club has to win on the road. Right now, they're 4-10 on the road, and it's a tough thing because sometimes you get on the road, you're getting good pitching, you can't get the offense going, and then you turn around, you're going to face a guy who's right on top of his game like Zach Wheeler. This is the guy you really have to get going, though, is Joey Votto. And he's shown signs of coming around a little bit. The league is really not trying to fool around when it comes to how they're pitching him. I mean, basically the same way they've done in this at bat. Fastball after fastball on the inner part of the plate, they're coming right after him. You just hope that he's able to barrel it up and kind of show his old Joey Votto self.
Of course, there were a lot of rumors for quite some time, Chris, that Zach Wheeler was on the verge of becoming a Red. He was originally a first-round pick of the Giants and came to the Mets in 2011 in the Carlos Beltran deal, and there were lots of rumors that he might be on his way to Cincinnati. We've seen a lot of those. A check swing by Votto, and the third baseman, Frazier, the former Red, can't get it out of his glove, so that'll be an infield hit for Joey.
Well, trying to check swing right here or just maybe foul it off, and that ball stays fair. Votto smells an infield hit, and that's exactly what he's going to get. Yeah, there was a lot of rumor about Zach Wheeler, but when they made that trade, he was only around in the minor leagues for a couple of years. Former #1 draft pick, went to the Giants in exchange for Beltran, who, by the way, the rest of the season with the Giants had a very excellent half a season. They didn't go anywhere that year, the Giants didn't, but Beltran used that season with the Giants to sign a really nice deal with the Cardinals. And meanwhile, simmering in the minor leagues, marinating, getting better and better was Zach Wheeler. Wasn't long before he became their top pitching prospect.
He had to battle through the injury, as Chris brought up earlier, where he missed the entire 2015 season. This one in the air off the bat of Suarez, and will be handled by the second baseman, McNeil. 2 down in the inning. But then last year, when finally healthy, in 2016, he only pitched in one game after missing all of 15. He pitched in 17 games in 2017. So, Chris, nearly 3 full years of being out.
And with a guy like that, though, that the pedigree, or at least at one time a consensus #1 round draft pick, you're going to be more patient with guys like that. He's going to get 10 chances compared to a guy who was drafted in the 30th round. He was the second high school player taken in 2009. That was the year, remember, if Steven Strasburg was the first player taken in the draft. Came out of college at San Diego State.
Jesse Winker at 238 does have 7 home runs and 12 runs batted in.
Also the year that the Reds took Mike Leake, 2 picks after Zach Wheeler went.
And Leake, of course, was by far the quickest to the major leagues of that lot because he did not throw a single pitch in minor league baseball before making his major league debut out of Arizona State. Cardinals and the Nationals just underway in D.C. Milwaukee will start a series tonight at Miller Park against Colorado. Wheeler last year wound up 12-7 in 29 starts. He pitched 182 innings and only gave up 150 hits. The strikeout to walk ratio was exceptional. 179 strikeouts against 55 walks. And Winker drives one right at the left fielder. And the inning is over as Nimmo runs it down. An infield hit for Votto. Mets are coming up. Inning, it's been a team averaging better than 5 runs per game. And Mickey Callaway's starting lineup. As Jeff McNeil, what a story he and Alonso have been. Then Nimmo in the 3rd spot with the absence of Robinson Cano. Conforto in right. The former Red Frazier at 3rd. Wilson Ramos, a free agent. Behind the plate, Rosario Lagares. And Wheeler, the latter 3rd, against Tanner Roark.
Now, pro's pro, really. Tanner Roark, a guy that has made a really nice major league living out of not having very much stuff. I mean, he overachieves in what he does because he's got a bulldog mentality. Last time out, they lost the game to the Atlanta Braves 3-1. He only gave up 1 earned run in that game, 6 hits overall, and this is how he gets it done in his scouting report. Roark's the guy that he'll use all 5 pitches: fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, cutter. He's got good command of that glove side, which for him is that first base side of home plate. Very important to pitch left-handers inside, and they've got some lefties on this Mets team. And he'll come right at you. Not nibbling around and not falling behind in accounts for fear of contact.
And here's a guy with an extraordinary on-base percentage at .434, and he's not doing it by walking. He's doing it by swinging the bat, and that's Jeff McNeil. Ball 1. He only has 7 walks. Wound up finishing 6th in the National League's Rookie of the Year voting as a 26-year-old rookie a year ago. Hit .329. And he is up there to swing that bat, and that he does on a 1-0 pitch. 1 out. But the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. They'll go with Schebler once more in center, flanked by Winker and Puig. Peraza, we made note, not only in the leadoff spot, but back at second base. And boy, Barnhart's been playing seemingly every single day. Never hear from Casale anymore.
Well, Barnhart's your number one catcher.
Here's a rookie, Alonso, and they've been waiting on him to get to the big leagues, and they made that decision. They weren't going to keep him down to the minor leagues, and that service time talk that you hear a lot about. They said if he's ready, then he's starting the season with a big league club. AA and AAA last year, club 36 home runs and 119 runs batted in.
Well, if you factor in what he did in the Arizona Fall League, he hit 42 home runs in 159 games last year. He can hit a fastball, no question. Breaking stuff still gives him a problem.
Well, what a start to his rookie year. Third in the major leagues with 18 extra base hits. Fifth in OPS. And how about his slugging percentage?
Up there with the big boys.
Yes, indeed. We saw plenty of Ozuna over the weekend. Nice pickup by Iglesias. 2 down. Now Brandon Nimmo.
It's really the way you figure it would go for Tanner Roark. You know, he just wants to miss the sweet spot. Doesn't necessarily want batters to swing and miss. That ball actually a little bit in on the hands of Pete Alonso and still hit very hard. Iglesias, boy, he has shown himself to be about as smooth as they come.
Nimmo got off to a terrible start this year, but the last 3 weeks he is rolling. A .333 batter, 3 home runs, 4 doubles, has scored 14 runs. First 7 games of the year he was batting under 100 off the end of the bat. And who wants it out there? It'll be Puig, and that's a nifty 8-pitch opening inning for Mr. Roark. Lagares and Conforto, Frazier, Rosario, McNeil, Alonso in the infield, and Ramos hanging a sign for Zach Wheeler.
Now Wheeler gets it up there. We'll take a quick look at his scouting report when we get a chance. But he will throw anywhere from 95 to 100 miles an hour. He's hit 100 earlier in the year. For a starting pitcher, I think that's about the second fastest in the National League. A hard but a very hittable slider. He throws it extremely hard. Doesn't have a lot of time to go down. Not a lot of depth. Occasional split finger fastball and also occasional curveball. But you just hope when you have a guy with this kind of overall talent, you don't catch him on a night when everything is working great. It worked great for him last time. Very difficult sometimes to string those kind of starts together. There's a slider.
Yasiel Puig takes away 2 balls and a strike.
And it's really, he throws it so hard, that slider. It's more like a cutter than it is a slider. I mean, 92 miles an hour. Batting averages against each of those pitches. You can tell the slider is the one that the hitters have had the most success with.
All right, well, let me ask you a question then. If I'm sitting at home, sitting next to you, as I'm lucky enough to be doing, if that's the case and you're having good success getting people out with a changeup and the curveball, and you know about the fastball, why don't you just get rid of the slider?
Well, you know, his last couple of starts, Tom, you're right on it there, because the last couple of starts he's thrown more curveballs and far fewer sliders. So, you know, they're trending that way, obviously. But he's thrown a fastball right by Puig. Just missed off the outside corner. I imagine he's come right back with the heat here.
And he misses ball 4. A rare walk for Puig. He struck out 23 times, and that is only his 4th walk of this season.
Well, the walks have been a problem, and you can see why. I mean, really, if you throw 97 miles an hour, why don't you just pitch over the plate, north and south, instead of trying to move the ball in and out? Now, when they start getting on you, then make an adjustment. But why walk the leadoff guy right there by trying to hit that outside corner just on the spot?
Well, you bring
leave
up
that for us puss armors like me that was throwing 86, not 96.
But look, you bring up something, though, still interesting. I mean, 86, 94. Tyler Mahle the other day throwing 94 miles an hour, but he got in big-time trouble with 2 out walks and nobody on base. Came around to haunt him a couple of times in the inning.
Yeah, I thought Tyler the other day just didn't have the kind of pop on his fastball that we've used to been seeing, and I think he kind of felt that. I think he knew that. Some days you're throwing the ball and the ball comes out of your hand so nicely you don't know how it's doing it, but it's getting on the hitters and they're having terrible looks. Other days you feel like you're throwing it well, but the hitters are telling you that you're not throwing it all that great.
Scott Schebler at 139, couple of home runs, 7 knocked in. Looks at that slider down and in. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Well, Scott's got to be thinking right here, you know, you missed that slider down in the dirt. You walked the leadoff hitter. There's no way he's going to throw me a breaking pitch right here. I mean, I got to get ready for that number 1.
Well, he threw the fastball. Now he goes to 3 balls and a strike. Puig running. Ball 4. Consecutive walks by Wheeler to start this Cincinnati second inning. Our Rocket Mortgage, do more to win. The Reds with runners in scoring position. And the last 4 games they have been extraordinarily better than they were the first 23. Under 200, now all of a sudden coming up with big hits, and they're hoping to continue that trend right here and right now.
Of course, they have that big output game, the first game in St. Louis, where they scored 12 runs. That padded everybody's average a little bit.
Well, the Mets believe that Iglesias might be bunting. He can take a big hack on that first pitch, strike 1.
I don't think there's any way in the world at this point in the batting order you're going to have him bunt. Though as hard as Zach Wheeler does, you know, bunting the ball might be as difficult as hitting the ball. There's the curve. .81 miles an hour. It's about 16 miles an hour slower than his fastball. Look at the reaction you get from the hitter.
Well, he thought it was high.
Looked high.
And barely a piece, but a piece enough to pop out of that mitt of Ramos, and it's still 0-2 on Iglesias. It's Gabe Morales calling the balls and strikes. Jerry Meals is at first. He's the crew chief. Ron Culpa, the umpire, at second. Marty Foster is at third. Reds trying to jump on the Mets here in the second inning. 2 on and none out. Well, it's only a month worth of baseball, but after the injury to Scooter Gennett, forcing Peraza to go to second, Iglesias has been the everyday shortstop, and he has been impressive. Swung the bat very well at 282. He's played beautifully in the field, as advertised. And has been just a solid pickup by the Reds very late. Fouled out of play.
Yeah, who would have ever thought that he would really be getting as much playing time as he has right now? The injury to Scooter Gennett has kind of changed the whole configuration of the infield entirely. I mean, if Gennett was not injured, chances are Peraza's playing shortstop every day because he's the shortstop of the future right now for the ball club. And Iglesias was signed to be a backup. But Iglesias is the best defender on his ball club without a doubt.
Any position.
I'm actually stunned that Wheeler is paying any attention here on an 0-2 count to Yasiel Puig at second base. Puig's trying to get into his head, and that's exactly what he's doing. You got a far better chance of firing that ball in the center field than you do picking off Yasiel Puig. I hope.
And that is a base hit fisted down the right field line that'll bring in Puig. Iglesias darting for second. He'll go in with an RBI double. Shevlin at third. And Iglesias on an 0-2 pitch gives the Reds a 1-0 lead. How about that?
Boy, you know, that's old-fashioned adjustment at the plate. He got down 0-2, and then he shortened up. He's just trying to stay alive. You foul a couple of pitches off, and he gets a fastball, and he just fists that ball right inside the first base bag. Of course, Dave Island in the Mets dugout thinking, man, oh man, not just one leadoff walk, but 2 walks to lead off the inning. First one has already come around to score. The other one is 90 feet away. Red's got to figure out a way to pick at least one more run up in this inning. You got the pitcher spot coming up next. Wouldn't surprise me that he would pitch around Barnhart a little bit, but I mean, with his strikeout stuff, why would you pitch around anybody?
1-0 to Tucker, batting in the 8-hole here today. And it's lofted into right field, a base hit. It'll bring in one. They'll hold Iglesias at third. And they're on the corners with none out and a 2-0 lead after the base hit by Tucker.
Reds taking advantage of what has been given to them, which is leadoff walks to start the inning. That's a good stroke by Barnhart right there. An 89-mile-an-hour splitter that he just kind of hangs right there about knee high.
So now Roark 0 for 8 as a batter. But obviously he will be asked to put down a bunt here. Or one would assume. We'll see. Yep. Pulls the bat away. Breaking ball, strike one. Iglesias can't get any lead at all. So if you're thinking about even a safety squeeze, the third baseman is basically holding him on.
And the first baseman's holding the runner on there too. So it's a lot easier now for Roark to get a bunt down that can move the runner over. Just don't bunt it right back to the pitcher.
Took a fastball right down the middle. Well, the art of bunting has gone completely by the wayside in the National League game.
Yeah, but I will say this. When you got a guy firing it up there as hard as Wheeler, it's not quite as easy as it appears. Some guys it's easier on than others. Ideally, you get one of the first 2 down. That way you don't have to start dealing with those pitches that he throws chin high, and you're not sure if it's a ball or a strike, and start jabbing at it.
Roark does not have a sacrifice so far this year. Breaking ball.
I can't believe he would throw that.
Roark out of there on strikes. First out of the inning, first strike out of the game by Wheeler. So by failing to advance the runner, at least on the first 2 strikes, has to put down a bunt, the double play stays in order, although Peraza, a tough guy to double up. Peraza swung at the first pitch of the game and hit a fly ball out to Conforto. 25th pitch of this inning now by Wheeler. Fastball, strike one.
National League pitchers have consistently stayed on the outer part of the plate and just off the plate on Peraza really all year long. They're waiting for him to make the adjustment.
And a base hit by Peraza down the left field line. Sounded like he broke his back. 1 run scores. They are going to put the brakes on Barnhart. And Peraza with an RBI double to make it 3-0 Cincinnati here in the second inning.
Got a hanging breaking ball on the inner part of the plate right there, and Peraza jumps all over it, barrels it up very nicely. I mean, that's his spot right there. You throw it there, he's going to hit the ball hard. So the Reds taking advantage of a little wildness, of some, in my estimation anyway, some unusual pitch sequencing. And they've got a nice 3-0 lead here.
Well, you raised a few eyebrows putting the slumping Peraza in that leadoff spot. He steps up there his second go-round and comes up with an RBI double. Now Joey Votto, he had a half-swing tapper up the third base line that turned into an infield hit his first time up. Mets are bringing the infield in with Barnhart at third, 1 out, and Peraza the runner at second. Ball 1 to Votto. Joey just 5 runs batted in so far this year. Of course, he's hit leadoff for the better part of a week and a half. After starting the year batting in the 2-hole and back in there tonight. Three and 0.
Well, I mean, Zach Wheeler must be wondering what happened in 5 days. How could I do what I did his last time out? 7 innings of shutout, 11 strikeout baseball against the Philadelphia Phillies, and then come out here today and really looks like has no feel of any pitch right now at all. So they intentionally walk Joey Votto, load up the bases.
Well, you have a long, long way to go. We're only in the second inning, but you find a gap here, and you're going to make it mighty tough on these Mets tonight. Already a 3 spot, and they're loaded with 1 out in the heart of the order. Coming up, Suarez, a pop-up to short center field in the first inning. And he finds a gap in a deep left center field. Back to the wall, and it's caught in front of the wall. Tagging and scoring is Barnhart. Peraza on his way to third base. And Suarez just missing that one. But it is a sac fly to make it 4-0. It's a big ballpark.
Boy, big swing, big ballpark. All the ingredients are right there, except maybe the cold weather killed that ball a little bit. Very chilly here at Citi Field tonight, and I thought he got a whole bunch of that ball.
I think he did too. These dimensions are so big in this ballpark. 370, cuts out into right center. Go out to 408.
Big man's ballpark.
Yes, it is. And Winker, a comebacker to the mound. 9 Reds come to the plate. 3 of them walk. 4 of them score. Iglesias, Barnhart, Peraza, Suarez and company. 4-0 Redlegs. First inning in our storyline presented by Elk and Elk. These guys throw a lot of pitches. Pitches per inning. Whole pile of them for Wheeler there in the second. And both have had, problems at times putting guys away. Foul ball percentage, and Roark talked a lot about that after his last start.
Well, if you have foul ball percentages way up there, it means you're throwing strikes. That's the good news there. Bad news is you haven't figured out the sequence or the right spot to throw it, so they put the ball in play with, soft contact, or how you miss bats.
Michael Conforto at 271 does have 6 home runs and 13 runs batted in. This was a guy they had a lot of patience with, and it finally came through starting in 2017.
Well, they had $3 million invested in him as an amateur player as a signing bonus. So again, when you're the first-round pick, 10th pick overall, 2014, you're gonna get look after look. You're gonna realize that, hey, at some time, basically a consensus of scouts all agree that this guy is going to be a big league player. So it's maybe just a matter of time.
And you throw in the fact that he had surgery on that left shoulder, and that really set him back. He looked completely out of sync when last year began, and they had to send him to the minor leagues to get it straightened out. Then in September, he was the best offensive player in the league last year.
He actually hurt his shoulder on a swing. I think he dislocated it, also tore some muscles back there.
Jam shot, and that is a fair ball into the corner. And Conforto will go in standing up with a double to start this Mets second inning. Well, we've seen a number of those already. The base hit by Iglesias, a base hit by Peraza, that one by Conforto.
Well, that's where Tanner Roark likes to throw it inside, and that's his best weapon against left-handers. And Conforto just a little bit of a shorter swing that time, just enough of the barrel to be able to keep it fair and get down the line. Or you miss that walk-up music for Todd Frazier, don't you?
Sure do. Sure do. Jersey Kid, of course. Broken bat roller to the shortstop. Frazier has only been back off the injured list for a week. Tonight is his 7th game of the year. And that's an unproductive out for the former Reds All-Star.
He hurt himself in spring training, had an oblique injury. It was a kind of pull a side muscle on your rib cage towards the back, and talked to him about it. And he says it was just amazing how long it just persisted before it would get better.
So a leadoff double, and the runner stays put after the ground out to Iglesias, and here's Ramos. He was one of the big offseason acquisitions by the New York Mets. And they went out there, made the big deal to get Robinson Cano, and brought in Diaz from Seattle. They get Ramos, and they feel like they got things going in the right direction. But now all of a sudden here we are. Lowry's been hurt all year long, although for the first time now on the comeback trail. He will be a regular player for them, obviously, once he comes back. Cano, they don't know. He got hit by a pitch in the game yesterday. There's a pop-up into foul ground and out of play. And here's a look yesterday. It actually got him in the left hand, up underneath there, from Gio Gonzalez. Well, what a career he's had. But you got to make do without him. For how long, who knows? Nationals a 3-spot and still batting in the second inning against the Cardinals. Series beginning tonight in D.C. That ball is stung into deep right field. Puig giving chase. And up against the wall. This will bring in a run. An RBI double by Ramos, who's really been struggling of late, but he's made it a 4-1 game. Tell you what, you put guys on base for Ramos, so he's been driving them in. That's 17 runs batted in.
Well, he's an incredibly strong guy, and you get up in the zone like that, and I can't say he's trying to hit it that way. He's just trying to hit it hard. Never try to pull a high pitch. Right at the base of the wall and ends up on second base and drives the run in.
Now Rosario at 263, and I mean, even at the bottom of the order, you look at Ramos in the 6th hole. Rosario was 16 runs batted in the 7th spot. He's reached base in 12 straight games. Really a make or break it kind of a year for Rosario. They've been expecting big things out of him, and there are flashes that they've seen from him, but even his defense has struggled at times this year. A lot of errors.
You know, in a way you can compare him to Jose Peraza. He's brought up at a very young age. He was just 21 years old when he made his major league debut. He's only 23 right now. Won't be 24 until after the season is over. Some of you can look at it and say, well, you know, they brought him up when he really was probably going to be a sophomore or junior in college. And you've got 21-year-olds playing probably an A-ball in your organization somewhere. So, you know, again, you have to be patient until you have somebody pushing him. He's had some good seasons, productive hitting seasons in the minor leagues. So that gives him a flash that, you know, he can do it. It's a whole nother deal up here when you've got pitchers not only throwing as hard as they do down the minors, but with control and consistency of their breaking stuff.
Two and two on Rosario. Runner at second, a run home. And back up through the middle. They're going to wave around Ramos. He will score, and all of a sudden that 4-0 lead is cut in half.
Well, Ramos had an excellent secondary lead. And so when he saw that ball get by the pitcher, he realized there was no infielder they're going to get to it. And he got a big jump around there. I really thought with the catcher running, you're going to have a chance of throwing somebody out the plate. Not hit all that hard, a little bit of overspin. And the Mets are roaring right back.
You know, we were just trying to talk a minute ago about Ramos and Rosario hitting 6th and 7th. Each of those guys with 17 runs batted in. That is by far more than any other current Reds player, even in the heart of the order. So it gives you an idea of this Mets team scoring, as we talked about earlier, better than 5 runs per game.
This is where, if you're Tanner Roark, you say, you know, I got to put a lid on this right now.
And it starts with Lagares. And a fastball is in there, a strike. 229 batter, a home run, 5 knocked in. And you have the pitcher spot due up next, but he's no easy out. Wheeler already has a home run and a double this season as a batter.
And I'd imagine he's extra motivated tonight.
Guy's been up and down over the last number of years. Spent a full season with the Mets in 2015. Last year limited to just 30 games due to injury.
He had a season-ending toe injury that ended it all for him in mid-May. So he only had 64 plate appearances last season.
And he was off to his best start of his career. He was batting .339 before that complete tear of the big toe plantar plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes, runner goes. Rosario had 24 stolen bases a year ago, but was thrown out 11 times.
Got a big lead.
2 of 3 so far this year. Will he be going again? Nope. And that's strike 3. First strikeout of the game by Tanner. 2 down in the inning. Now Wheeler. And it was his most recent start where he came up with a double down the right field line. And then would add a home run. It's interesting to note, Mets pitchers this year have hit 3 home runs already. Wheeler, DeGrom, and Noah Syndergaard. We will see both DeGrom, the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner, and Syndergaard in this series. I think the only starter we're going to miss, if I'm not mistaken, is Steven Matz. This being a 4-game series, we'll also see Jason Vargas.
Word of your hitting gets around pretty quickly. They start you off with a couple of breaking balls.
Four runs in the top of this inning for the Redlegs. A pair for the Mets. 1 out to go. And now 2 balls and a strike on Wheeler. Seventh pitch of the inning. Nowhere near the number thrown by Wheeler at the start of the inning, but that's strike 3 to end it. A 2 spot for the Mets and a 2-run Cincinnati lead.
Out and about in the community per usual, and this morning made a very special trip to the United States Merchant Marine Academy. He toured the facilities there, learned a ton about United States history, talked to the baseball team there, an extended talk, and those that were there, and I've been on these visits with him, they say how engaged he is in these visits, and I've seen it firsthand. He even got some BP in, and those that were there were surprised at how much U.S. history Puig actually knows. He was learning and sharing, once again, out and about and giving back.
So he puts his money where his mouth is and his time where his mouth is. Talks about all the things he's involved with his Wild Horse Foundation. And I mean, here the team is got in not late, but late last night in New York City, and he's up and at 'em first thing this morning to take the time to visit with those folks. That's good stuff for Yasiel Puig.
Yeah, very interesting guy. I mean, he is upbeat all the time. Came around to score the first run of the game after taking a walk, and he thinks that ball may have been outside.
Second strikeout of the game by Zach Wheeler. Wheeler walked 3 batters, 1 intentionally, in that second inning and put himself behind the 8 ball with consecutive walks to start it. And that appeared to be outside at 96. Schebler walked, scored. Almost fell over. He swung so hard at that slow breaking ball, spun up there at 80. It's a 3rd career start for Zach Wheeler against the Reds, and the first time he's ever faced him at Citi Field. 2 career starts, a 1-0 record, 12 innings, has given up 2 runs. Has allowed 1 run on 6 innings in each of his 2 starts against the Reds. And boy, here at Citi Field, you go back to 3rd week of May last year, so not far removed from 1 calendar year. His earned run average in this ballpark is 2.3. Dominant here on the home front. And really, this is what this entire Mets team and many other Mets teams through the years, you alluded to it in the open, that it's always been known as a pitching-rich organization. Going all the way back to the very, very early days, and of course their greatest star of all time, a former Red for a short while, Tom Seaver. I mean, he's the best Met, period, in the field or on the mound. But they're building this entire franchise and basing its success off the 4 guys, 5 guys they have in this rotation. And strangely enough, as Schebler has gone on strikes, the 2 guys they were really counting on, or more accurately figuring on, being very, very good, the Cy Young Award winner DeGrom and Noah Syndergaard are the 2 that are struggling the most.
Yeah, that's probably why they're so surprised that their pitching isn't their strong point. Steven Matz has always had the potential in him. In fact, the Reds, I think, saw him early in his career one day where he hit a couple of doubles. I think he punched out about.
It was his major league debut.
Was that his debut? Yeah,
maybe. I'll have to look back on that.
It was really early in his career, and just had a tremendous day. And I think we all looked at each other and said, "Boy, this guy is another one of these potential Cy Young Award types." And he's been beset by injuries. Syndergaard has been beset by injuries, but they've got the potential to be a dominant starting rotation, and they've got a pretty doggone good closer in the bullpen too.
Well, he bounces back with a perfect inning, does Wheeler. Reds fans stopped by the Reds Connect Zone at Great American Ballpark, presented by the University of Cincinnati. On the third base concourse behind section 109, you have a free charging station there, 27 screens of game coverage, Instagram photos, tweets. Boy, Chris, you and Jim Day would fit in perfectly there. Line up with all your Twitter buddies. Jim Day's got a whole laundry list of followers, and I think you do too. Right?
I follow him.
Do you?
Yeah.
Now, where is Jim Day's seat down there tonight? I was looking for him earlier.
Just
he's on the inside. There he is. Okay. Good seat. Big league seat tonight.
Oh, yeah. Good seat here, Citi Field.
Now, are you on do you have a chair with a back on it, or is it a little stool down there today? What do you got working?
It's just a stool. It's a little hard on the middle-aged back. You feel me?
Well, at least you've got that wall behind you there, though. That's always very nice.
That's true. It's a big old hang with them.
How many followers do you have, Jim Day, on Twitter?
I don't know, 40-some thousand.
Wow. Man.
42.
That's a big number, right? I mean, it's got to be a big number.
Well,
I don't mean compared to, you know.
Yeah, like real celebrities.
No. You know what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not talking about like your old buddy Brandon used to have or somebody like that. But I mean, that's a lot of followers.
Yeah, I appreciate each and every one of them.
I know you do.
Oh, yeah. Got to get you on there.
2-2 to count on Jeff McNeil. This guy's a hitter, man. And, I mean, that's what he is. He's a hitter.
Yeah, you know, he's kind of a throwback kind of guy. Even going all the way to the way he picks out his equipment, like his bat. Take a look at the bat that he has right here. I mean, that is the old U1. If you ever remember that old model. Does not have a knob at the bottom. First one he had was I think it was a 36, 33, and he's gone to a smaller bat now. But he says he's always used it because it's got great balance.
That ball is hit a long way, but you got to really hit it a long way to get it out of here. And Shoveler jumps in the air. Didn't look like he needed to, but he does to make the grab. 1 out.
You know, awfully tough to take, just one round of batting practice and figure out all the nuances of playing defense in a brand new ballpark. You know, for Scott Schebler, playing center field is somewhat new. This was an area that was patrolled by, Billy Hamilton for years here with the Reds. Schebler was always over in right, and you worry about right field. Now you've got a whole new thing to think about. You've got about 45 minutes really to get it down.
Haven't had a sighting of Mr. Met yet tonight. Walked by his condo down below in the bowels of the stadium and might have been taking a little snooze getting ready for tonight. One of the great mascots in baseball, Mr. Met. Talk about all the starts pitching inside the National League East for Roark against this Mets team. 12 starts at Citi Field, his 23rd overall start against the Mets, and his numbers are just excellent. IGS bringing the energy, career at Citi Field, a 2.73 ERA, lowest of any ballpark. This is certainly a pitcher's paradise, especially on a cold night like tonight. Or you would assume. Teams have combined for 6 runs and 7 hits. So 9 home runs and 24 runs batted in already this young season in his rookie year. What a start he's off to. Gone swinging on a pitch down and away. Third strikeout for Tanner Roark.
Well, the breaking ball is going to give him a problem for a while. That's a good one there. It looks like a strike coming out of his hand. Alonso, big, strong guy. You just want to keep him from making contact. Looks like both these pitchers have settled down a little bit after having a little bit of a rough start in the second inning.
Now Nimmo. Another guy, there were some rumors a few years back about him perhaps coming over from the Mets to the Reds in a trade. Guy plays with a lot of energy.
young man that grew up in Wyoming.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, he wanted to actually be, in the rodeo. Growing up there, and he ended up having his brother had a very successful college baseball career. And his high school, Wyoming is one of 3 states in the country that does not have high school baseball. So he had to play American Legion. And then when he was scouted by the scouts, they would follow his American Legion team around. And he was basically discovered, quote unquote, when he played in an All-American type baseball tournament at Wrigley Field. And he went, got a couple of hits, a triple, scored a couple of runs, and then he got on the scouts' radar from there.
Yeah, they're pretty patient with him. They drafted him in the first round, 13th overall in 2011. He didn't get to AAA until 2015. Now, again, you're talking about a high school kid, so it took him a little while to get through and really did not establish himself until last year as a big league player.
He still to this day is the highest ever drafted player out of the state of Wyoming.
Nimmo hit on a 1-2 breaking ball, and he's at first with 2 outs in the inning.
Boy, you're right about him playing with energy. He didn't wait for the ball to stop. He was running to first base. And in a hurry to get down there and talk to Joey Votto. And why not?
Strike call to Conforto on the outside corner. Well, you talked about Nimmo coming out of Wyoming. And when you start talking about so many of those states in that region of America, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, all the way over into Idaho and places like that, it's amazing when kids coming out of any of those schools, because by and large they're so small, there are no great metropolitan areas around there. I brought up the other day in football, they have to play 7-on-7. The high schools don't have enough players to field 11 on 11 in football. And, perhaps the best player that I can remember in recent memory, by far the best player from that general region, and you're talking about an enormous region of the country there, landmass-wise, not population-wise, was Darren Erstad. Mm-hmm. Remember, he came out, I think, North Dakota it was. Great football player and a baseball player.
Conforto, a little different story. He's from Seattle, Washington. Must be kind of interesting for him, though, to be kind of reunited with Todd Frazier, because while Todd Frazier, during 2015 All-Star Game, was thrilling everybody with the home run contest, it was Conforto that was playing for the Mets in the Futures game.
Well, there's a lot of nibbling going on here with 2 outs and nobody on. Goodness gracious. Retired the first 2 in the inning. And then you hit Nimmo on a 1-2 breaking ball, go off speed, 3-2 on Conforto. And now a breaking ball, strike one to Frazier.
Yeah, Frazier made it out on the first pitch he saw last time up was a fastball that sawed him off. I think it was a fastball, but he broke his bat in half. Actually seeing the ball and hitting it pretty good is Frazier right now. Good to see Todd before the game filling in on his family. He's got 3 kids now and growing like crazy. It's really good guy.
He was certainly a fan favorite all those years playing for the Reds.
I think Tanner Roark thought that was more of a called strike variety than needing to know whether he swung at it or not. He needs to stop this inning about right now.
Well, the Reds gave Roark a 4-0 lead with 4 runs in the top of the second inning. The Mets got 2 back in the bottom half, and he looked like he was on his way to breezing through this third. And it looks like he'll get out of the inning. On a pop-up to the right side, Votto backs up, and that's all. A hit, batter, and a walk. Mets strand 2. Reds lead by 2.
Live with MLB At Bat. Video highlights, stats, standings, breaking news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today. It's the #1 app for the Cincinnati Reds. You guys had mentioned seeing our old friend Todd Frazier before the game. Also renewed acquaintances with former Reds bench coach and interim manager Jim Riggleman. Now the bench coach here with the Mets, and he's making that adjustment like anyone else has to the Big Apple. He tells me he lives up in the Long Island area. Got about a 90-minute commute most days, which is a major adjustment from staying right by Great American Ballpark and walking to work.
Oh, man. 90 minutes each way?
Yes, on a normal day. On a good day, it says like 35, 40 minutes. But it's a rough 35 or 40 either way.
Man.
Good
Riggs,
man, though.
Good man is right.
I miss seeing him on the road early in the morning. I go down to the lobby of a hotel and get a cup of coffee, and without a doubt, Jim Riggleman would be there.
Yep.
Sitting by himself and almost inviting a conversation with anybody who want to talk about the game the night before. We spent an hour going over basically, the 7th through the 9th inning, pitch by pitch, because he wanted to relive it from a bench coach's standpoint. I mean, the guy lives to be a bench coach.
He really does. And, I was amazed at some of the venom that came his way last year for so many of the fans. With the players that he had, I thought he did the very best possible job that you could ask anybody to do. Was he perfect? Nobody's perfect. Are there some fans that didn't like him bunting so much, and he's a big fan of the bunt? There's a base hit by Roark, his first hit as a Red. But, boy, he was never going to be a guy in a game that was going to be outmaneuvered when it came to making the moves in a game. Did every one of them turn out perfectly? They don't turn out perfectly for any manager. And the guys that have the better players, they're going to have things go their way most of the time.
Very good strategist.
And I thought he was a good leader. I mean, he wasn't afraid to call players out. If things weren't going good, call them into their office. He would never back down to a player. Would not accept insubordination. Solid. That's why every single year that guy's got a good job at baseball. Because people know it that have been around the game a long time.
Peraza got a curveball his last time up and hit it very hard down the left field line.
Flips this ball to the right fielder Conforto, and that's a second out of the inning. We'll work over at first. Coming up later on, we'll have our Hold True moment.
Brought to you by Miller Lite.
Just seems like Wheeler has begun to kind of get back into using his power stuff rather than trying to trick him. Boy, that second inning, he was flipping up curveballs and splitters and all sorts of stuff. And I'm wondering if maybe Dave Island, the pitching coach, read him the riot act and said, son, God didn't give everybody 97 miles an hour. Use it.
Here's Joey. He's been on twice. A check swing roller that turned into an infield hit in the first inning and drew a walk. Turned out to be an intentional walk after they started him in the count 3-0 in that 4-run second inning. On base percentage at .353, slugging percentage at .414 for Votto. That on base percentage has jumped 15 points at this part of the year. You get on 2, 3, 4 times in a game. And Votto's been getting on a lot more, primarily via the walk, especially in that leadoff role. And all of a sudden, that on base percentage for him will do what it's always done. That's 7 times.
Name of the game from that spot.
Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Joey not so sure.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Check in with our T-Mobile connecting to the game. A couple injury updates. Christian Yelich, day-to-day with lower back discomfort, continuing where he left off last year. And Fernando Tatis Jr. day-to-day with a hamstring. We got a good look at Fernando Tatis. Now, speaking of the Brewers, yesterday, Ryan Braun, well, you know, sometimes you got to pay the price in more ways than one. Going for a ball and getting a little beer dumped on him as well. But you're winning when you play in Beer City, even when you're on the road. Sometimes the beer will get you.
You know, Chris, you and I were talking about that on the way over here today. And look, you know, you can sit there and look at that video and make the argument that, you know, the fan did not interfere with Braun's ability to catch that ball.
You're going to look at it from the rule standpoint.
Yeah, the rule standpoint. Okay, yeah. I'm not going to get into the whole. I mean, the guy wasn't clearly trying to dump a beer on him. He was leaning out and he had his cup in his hand. But I just find it really hard to believe that clearly some of that beer touched Braun before the ball made contact with the wall. And I'm just startled. And look, you're the rules guy at baseballrulesacademy.com. Go check it out. I'm just stunned that is not some kind of fan interference. I know it's not going out there and taking away a home or taking a ball away and over the wall that wouldn't have been a home run. That I get. I'm stunned that you can have a drink get dumped on a player trying to make a play, whether it be in the outfield, whether it be coming over in foul ground for an infielder on the third base side, first base side, behind the plate, and that's not some kind of fan interference.
You know, we've covered that pretty extensively, really with the help of Ted Barrett with some videos on that side. And what the umpires would look at right there is the difficulty of the catch. Would Braun have definitely had that catch with an ordinary effort had it not been for the beer spilled on him? And to have fan interference, you don't have to have the fan touch the ball or touch the player. You can have a fan run on the field and distract the player, and that can be fan interference. But they evidently thought that the difficulty of that particular catch was such that there was no guarantee Braun was going to get that ball. Right. And that's the reason why. It's a judgment call, but, you know, it's interesting how, you know, a lot of these judgment calls, you have to have some kind of basis of rule to go by, and you should understand that.
And again, if you want to check out any rules that you might be interested in, whether it's at the big league level, professional level, college level, high school level, amateur baseball, best place to go. Keith Hernandez was talking about this website earlier today, baseballrulesacademy.com. Drive in a deep left center, and Schebler, man, his ballpark. you watch games at our ballpark or a couple of others, and I'm not so sure, Chris, after just watching a couple of games now, it's a lot colder here than it was in San Diego. But this ballpark, at least for the first 4 innings of this game tonight, is even bigger than Petco Park.
Well, both these ballparks ought to have, a psychiatrist on staff. In Cincinnati, to console the pitchers. Here, to console the hitters.
Group therapy. Dave, we've seen some balls hit in this game tonight. That one didn't even get to the warning track.
And it sounded so good coming off the bat.
That ball Suarez hit, even on a night in this temperature, that ball's 10 rows out of Great American Ballpark. That's out by the visitors' bullpen. That would have been a grand slam in this game rather than a sac fly for Suarez. All right, 2 down. Lagares takes upstairs, 1 ball and 2 strikes. He struck out swinging in the second inning. Got ahead 1 and 2, and 2 breaking balls nowhere near the plate. Lagares is not going to chase either one of those. And now Roark, you figure he'd throw a fastball, let him hit it as far as he can hit it, right down the can. You'd like to have that pitcher leading off the next inning, so let's see if Roark can retire the side in order. Once more, the 3-2 pitch. Well, Roark is upset either with the umpire or upset with himself, but he wasted 2 pitches on 1 and 2 to run it to 3 and 2. That is not a strike. Now Wheeler. He looked at strike 3 his first time up. Strike 1. Upping into the count on the pitcher, Wheeler. Mets batting here in the last of the 4th inning. All the action in this one came in the second. The Reds got 4 runs. Mets got 2. 4 runs, 5 hits, 4 left for the Redlegs. 2 runs, 3 hits, 3 left on base for the Mets against Roark. Little number off the end of the bat, and here we go. 2-out walk, followed by a single, and now you start the 3rd time through the batting order, and McNeil
I mean, you're getting into big-time hitters now after not being able to put away the number 8 hitter and the number 9 hitter on 2 strike pitches.
Tell you what, pretty good-looking hitter at the plate there is Zach Wheeler. You know, sometimes you read about a hitter having a good day where he hits a double and a home run. You just kind of run into one like that. But he just sets up like he knows what he's doing. That's a nice little smooth swing, a little bit on the end of the bat, drops it right in there for a base hit.
It's going to be another game where the Reds are going to be fortunate to get it started through 5 innings tonight. 80th pitch of the game by Roark, and we're in the 4th inning. And it's a fastball high, 1-0 to McNeil. Tanner's handled him tonight on a pop-up to left and a fly ball to center. Roark has always been known as a guy who throws strikes, but control has been an issue for him so far this year. He's walked, 14 batters in 32 innings? Now, that's not an extraordinary number, but for him, that's on the high side. He's also hit a number of batters. And the 2-0 now to McNeil. 3-0. And now Derek Johnson going to have to get on the horn of that bullpen. He had Lagares, a number 8 place hitter, at a ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs in the inning. Wound up walking him. 3-1 now on McNeil, and then on a 1-2 pitch allows a single to the pitcher Wheeler. Big pitch right here coming up. This guy can hurt you. And they are loaded. And here comes Mr. Johnson, bouncing out of that Reds third base side dugout.
Well, it has not been an easy night for Tanner Roark. Just one of those nights where his control is a little bit off, the command of that fastball, not being able to throw it where he wants to. And, you know, you think you're going to breeze through an inning like he did in the third. Got quick 2 outs and then ended up hitting a batter, walking a batter, got out of that inning unscathed. 2 quick outs in this inning, then a walk, a base hit, and another walk. And now you got bases loaded, and maybe the guy that hits the ball harder than anybody else in this league, this side of Franmil Reyes, comes to the plate. I'm talking about
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, he's hitting 210. Well, this guy ain't hitting 210.
No, he's not, but he's hitting 300. And he's got 9 home runs and 24 driven in, and he's got some ducks on the pond.
All right. This is where Tyler Mahle really got hurt a couple of days ago. 2 out walks. And that started this rally for the Mets. They are loaded for Alonso. Ball 1. And this more than likely is the final batter of the game for Roark. You have left-handed batters in Nimmo and Conforto coming up. So he needs to make a pitch.
With every breaking ball that misses the strike zone, Alonso's thinking, I'm one closer to getting a fastball that I can hack at.
4-3 game. Well, you got to believe David Bell has seen enough of this.
I don't know if that Wandy Peralta has had enough time to warm up down in the bullpen. They're going to delay a little bit, give him a couple more pitches down there with a conversation between Barnhart and Tanner Roark, and that'll be enough.
This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. It's a 4-3 game. Mets have the bases loaded. We're back in a moment. There's two batters in this fourth inning. He was ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes to the number 8 hitter. He wound up walking him, gave up a single to the pitcher, walked the leadoff man McNeil, walked in a run facing Alonso. And so Tanner's night is over quite early. 3 2/3 innings, and he will give way to the left-hander who pitched a very, very good inning of work yesterday in St. Louis and off to a nice start this year, and that's Wandy Peralta.
They're throwing the ball very well. In fact, he's cut his walk rate down by about 50% from last year. So it's down around where it was the year before last, 3 batters per 9 innings instead of more like 6+ batters per 9 innings. But he needs strikes right here. Nowhere to put Brandon Nimmo.
Nope. Wheeler, McNeil, Alonso. Third, second, and first base. And here's a left-handed batting Nimmo. Roark only gave up 4 hits. I mean, it's not like they were hitting him, but just didn't have the kind of command we've seen from Roark through the years here tonight. 4 walks, hit a batter. Struck out 3. And this is a tough spot to bring a guy like Peralta into a game. Now, granted, he has been so much better this year than he was last year after a great 2017 season, or at least 5 months out of the 6. He ran out of gas at the end, but he was really good. But the thing he has traditionally struggled with is his control as well. Two and 0 the count, and now time is called.
I think that they're probably experimenting, going back and forth between Zach Duke and Wandy Peralta to find out who's the guy that they need to go to first and in what situation. Duke kind of blew up the other day, so now it falls on Peralta. But if you're Wandy Peralta and you want to be in high leverage situations, this is where you have to show your manager you can throw the ball over the plate. Right now, gripping that ball just a little bit too tightly.
Three and 0 the count on Nimmo. Reds clinging now to a 1-run lead, and Peralta looking in forever at the signs of his catcher Barnhart, and now Nimmo wants time out.
I mean, what other than a fastball is it going to be on a 3-0 count?
Back-to-back bases loaded walks, and this is a tie game, 4-4. The only runner that has reached base in this inning, and there have been 5 of them, was a single by the pitcher. The other 4 have reached on walks, and now Michael Lorenzen beginning to throw in the Reds bullpen. Another left-handed batter coming up, Michael Conforto, and do not take him for granted as a left-handed batter against left-handed pitching. In there a strike, first one thrown by Wandy since coming on from the pen. Take a look at that. Since the start of last year, that's what I was referring to. 12 home runs off left-handed pitchers by Conforto. Good sharp breaking ball there to get ahead 0-2. What a block by Barnhart. That ball was 3 feet away from the plate when it bounced.
Well, it was 3 feet away and about 6 feet short. And it had spin on it. And all you can do right there is try to square up your torso and hope that it hits you right in the chest protector and stays in front of you. And that's what it did. Fortunately, it went up towards the third base line rather than the first base line.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Peralta against Conforto. And missed off the inside corner with a changeup. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Well, you got to get a decision right here on a 2-2 count.
Pull to the right side. I think he threw him another changeup, didn't he? Or was that the breaking ball? 4-4 game. We're off to the 5th inning in New York. Riverboat deck. Enjoy an unlimited ballpark buffet, beverage service, amazing views, and so much more. For tickets, visit Reds.com/groups. So we start anew. At the end of 4, we're tied at 4.
Boy, if you would have asked me after the 2nd inning, which of these 2 starting pitchers has the best chance of being out there in the 5th, you could have taken me for a lot of money. Because I thought Zach Wheeler was done. And he's turned it up here the last couple of innings. He struck out 3 batters. He's only faced a total of 7. And meanwhile, Tanner Roark just could not find the strike zone, and we got a tie ball game.
Part of the order for the Redlegs here in the 5th. It'll be Suarez, Winker, and Puig. Quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
Two and two once more to Eugenio Suarez. Came with a gas and fouled out of play. Suarez just missed, as we mentioned a short while ago, clubbing a grand slam to left center field in the 2nd inning. Ball that died right in front of the wall. Breaking ball, hook foul. This is one of those kind of nights, and we've seen a number of balls already. Chris, you've made reference to this time and time again, and remember Mike Krukow used to say the same thing about pitching at Wrigley Field when the wind's blowing in. Night like tonight, you might be able to just throw fastballs right down the middle and let guys swing as hard as they want.
You know, at least up and away and play to the big part of the ballpark. Maybe not everybody in each lineup, but I mean, you know, probably 5 out of the 9 hitters, definitely.
Maybe more than that, depending on who you're facing.
What you do want to do tonight is throw the ball over the plate.
And that was a fastball up in the strike zone, and he beat Suarez on it. 1 out in the inning on the pop up into foul ground.
They're wondering if maybe Wheeler hurt himself. He looks up and he's going to see that's Mickey Callaway, I believe, the manager and a trainer coming out. See if we say something here on the last pitch. Huh? I'm not sure what they saw or what they thought they saw. Maybe there's some conversation going on in the dugout prior to this inning. That was Dave Island, pitching coach.
He's been around a long time.
Of course, their manager, Mickey Callaway, a longtime pitching coach.
Yes. Most recently, when he came over to the Mets to become their manager, was a pitching coach in the northern part of the Buckeye State. With a try. Jesse 0 for 2 is lined to left and bounced out to the pitcher. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Hoping to get a fastball. Jesse Winker has shown himself this year to be able to negotiate pitches that are 94 miles an hour and up. Look at the 421 batting average when he gets a piece of cheese. That's a good stat because the first thing they do normally, they used to anyway, is find out if a rookie can handle a fastball inside. If you can do that, then they're going to start throwing you breaking pitches, changing speeds. Little cutter right there. That's his version of a slider, but it just comes in around 90 to 92 miles an hour with just a little bit of cut into the left-hander.
Well, he jumps on that fastball, and a leaping grab made by Nimmo in left field. Winker has hit the ball right on the nose twice at the New York left fielder tonight. So 2 in a row retired on fastballs to Suarez, and then Winker, and it's strike 1 on Puig, who walked in the second inning and scored. When the Reds got all 4 of their runs, they've had 1 base runner since, and strangely enough, that was a single by Roark. And quickly 0-2 on Yasiel Puig. Reds bullpen going to have to eat up a lot of time on the mound tonight, if they have done recently. There's a hot smash up the third base line on an 0-2 fastball by Puig. And he will coast into second base with a double, jumped all over 96.
Well, he can hit 96, there's no doubt about it, but especially when you get it down in the zone. And that is his spot right there. I'm stunned that they're going to pitch him down and in like that. That is dangerous. Dangerous for the pitcher giving up a home run and dangerous for the third baseman.
So now a 2-out chance to break this 4-4 tie for Scott Schebler. Walked and scored in the second inning. Struck out swinging in the third. Pulled the string on him looking for a first pitch fastball. Didn't get it. Puig, the lead run out there at second base with 2 outs in the Cincinnati 5th inning. 0-1 on Scott Schebler. And the inning is over. He caught it in the air. Inning over. On Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Ford. Go further. By Kroger, it's easy to place your order online and pick it up in the store. Try it today at Kroger.com. And by Gilkey Window, one of the top 100 window manufacturers in the United States. Well, Wandy Peralta came on to get the final out after walking in a run. And those will be the only 2 batters he will face. And now this game belongs to Michael Lorenzen. Boy, is this guy throwing the ball. Now here's a guy that's coming after people.
Yeah, he is throwing the ball very well.
Four affair. Frazier to start things. Frazier lifts a fly ball into right center. Puig is there to get it.
That last fastball by Michael Lorenzen, 97 miles an hour. I mean, he looks effortless, and I just think the kid's getting stronger and stronger. He's getting more repetitions. I mean, he's become one of the go-to guys out of the bullpen for David Bell. Also the go-to guy for defense late in the ball game to play center field.
Mm-hmm. There's Ramos. He had an RBI double for right field in the Mets' 2-run second inning. They got 2 more to tie it up in the 4th inning. Broken bat, fly ball, short right. Puig nearly lost it in the lights coming in to get him, but stayed with it. Nice play, Yasiel Puig. That is tough duty when you lose that thing on a sinking liner in the lights.
Well, you see it come off the bat, and you think you've got a beat on it, and you're watching it the entire way, and you realize that, that is the trajectory of the ball that is going to stay in the lights for a while.
So now 2 down for Rosario, and he looks at a strike.
Boy, Lorenzen right on the edge of the strike zone with that first pitch.
One and one to count on Rosario. Well, that's gas there too, and I mean located gas, not
that's actually
not 97, but 93 on the outside black.
And that's actually his cutter. So he has a little movement to it.
You can hear Michael grunt all the way up here in the 5th deck of this stadium after he cut that one loose.
I really think the most interesting thing, one of anyway, about Michael Lorenzen's pitching is that he really uses any one of about 5 or 6 pitches. You could almost say he complicates a little bit too much, but I think he sees it as a challenge to be able to harness all of those different pitches.
That's getting after people right there. Lorenzen, he's not fooling around with anybody. 4-4 game.
Teams, Reds and Mets, have had some run-ins over the years. 1973, the NLCS, Pete Rose and Bud Harrelson battle it out at second base after a hard slide. And in 1986, 10th inning, Ray Knight took exception to Eric Davis's pop-up slide. Mayhem ensued for the next 16 minutes.
It's amazing, those New York Mets teams, they were so talented. It's amazing they only won that one World Series. Now, look, winning a World Series we know is extraordinarily difficult, but man, was that team loaded. They had it all. They had guys that could get on base, guys that could hit the ball to seats, guys that could run, guys that could hit, starting rotation, bullpen. Man, they were really good. Of course, in many ways, they imploded. It wasn't so much that other teams beat them as much as it was ultimately the Mets beating themselves. And a lot of times it was off the field. I mean, you talk about extraordinarily talented players as Iglesias leads off the Cincinnati sixth inning with a base hit into center field. Let's take a game break right now and check in with Jeff Picoro back in Cincinnati. Hiya, Pick. The big fella getting warmed up.
They were a little worried about him for a while now.
They should have been. You go a month without a home run, you're counting on that big donkey to hit balls into seats. Good start here in the Cincinnati sixth inning of a 4-4 game. Straight up in the air by Barnhart. And that's a first out here in the inning. Mets have double barrel action in their bullpen. The right-hander Gesselman, and I think the left-hander out there is Zamora, Daniel Zamora. Bullpens are right next to one another out there in right center field. Michael Lorenzen will bat. He has not had many plate opportunities despite playing in the field a lot this year. So Gesselman, the right-hander, Zamora, the left-hander, getting ready in the bullpen. And a broken bat roller to second. There's a tag throw in time to double up Lorenzen.
Well, Iglesias tried to distract the second baseman long enough to maybe just get him to chase him right there, to just take enough time so they couldn't complete the double play. Well, Lorenzen looked like he was past the bag on that. Reds are probably taking a look at it down in the clubhouse area, and I think David Bell's going to ask them for a review. He's coming out of the dugout right now. Here we go.
He's out. So the call stands. Double play will end the inning. Mets will bat in the sixth in a 4-4 game. We love it.
Well, Lorenzen, I mentioned it last inning, but I mean, he is right on the black. First pitch on the black. with either a fastball or a little cutter.
All right, they'll be facing 8, 9, and 1 in the batting order. This was the group that just the wheels fell off for Tanner Roark. And it started against this guy on a 1-2 count with the bases empty and 2 outs in the inning. Roark threw him back-to-back breaking balls to go 3-2. Threw him a fastball that he fouled off. Then threw him another fastball that was ball 4. The pitcher came up, 0-2 or 1-2 pitch, base hit center field. Then Tanner walked McNeil. He walked Alonso to bring in a run. And another run would score in the inning, and that's how we're tied at 4-4. But Lorenzen just not fooling around. There's just no goofing around. There's no nibbling. There's no nothing. It's just coming after guys and say, you want to hit it? Let it rip. Keon Broxton, a longtime Milwaukee Brewer. Guy did some nice things with the Brew Crew over the last number of years. So battle of the bullpens moving forward. That was a very impressive finish for Wheeler, as you mentioned. To end up going 6 innings after the way he looked in the second inning tonight. He only allowed 3 base runners the rest of the game from the 3rd, 4th, the 5th, and the 6th.
I mean, he had to be one batter away from being out of the ball game in the second. Although they didn't have anybody up in the bullpen. Mets have been good about being able to hold a lead. Their bullpen has been good. Those guys that they use in games in which they're winning, where they have problems in their pen, is when they are down by a few runs early and they have to cover a lot of innings.
High fly ball into right field, and again, let them hit it as far as they want to hit it on a night like tonight. April in the OHIO continues from the Big Apple tomorrow night. Reds Live gets underway at 6:30 on Fox Sports Ohio, streaming on Fox Sports Go. April in the OHIO, presented by Menards. Pitching matchup tomorrow night. Reds have their main man on the hill tomorrow. And that'll be the league's leader in earned run average, Luis Castillo. A 1.23 earned run average against left-hander Jason Vargas. Game coverage starts at 7. But you'll want to catch Jim Day and Chris Welsh in Reds Live. The pregame.
I'll tell you what I'll do for you tomorrow, Tom. Cowboy and I will get together, Jeff Brantley and I'll get together in Reds Live. We'll break down the pitching matchup again tomorrow like we did today.
Love it.
Of course, we'll be talking a lot about that guy.
And he deserves to have people talking about him.
We talk a lot about McNeil, the bat that he uses. The other interesting thing about McNeil is that he was a young man that never played high school baseball until he was a senior. He was a golfer. He really wanted to be a PGA golfer. And he realized after his junior year, when he went to a couple of junior golf tournaments that didn't do well, he said, well, that's it for golf. I'm going to baseball. And he had something like 360 or a 460 and ended up going to college on a baseball scholarship.
And he's a guy we talked about, as good as his on-base percentage. He only had 7 walks this whole year, and now he has 2 walks tonight.
Another 2-out walk. Well, that's the theme tonight.
Yes, it is. Fastball, strike 1 to Alonso. Was a 2-out hit batter that got Roark in some trouble in the 3rd inning. He followed that with a walk and then got a pop-up. We already talked about the 2-out walk in the 4th. Cardinals have come back with 6 unanswered runs in the nation's capital. And a liner, base hit left field. So now the Mets making some 2-out noise again.
Yeah, this guy hits it hard. I mean, he hung it right there in the center of the strike zone. One of the rare mistakes that Lorenzen has made in his short time on the mound. Gets it right by Iglesias. And David Bell will come out with back-to-back left-handers due up for the Mets. They're going to make a change.
And you know who the left-hander coming in this time is going to be. It's going to be their main lefty out of that bullpen, Amir Garrett. That's really cool. Now there are those cards.
The tarot cards being delivered. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be a name for them.
They are. Tarot. I thought it was tarot card, but I mean, you say tarot. I mean, that's French probably, right?
Well, let's hope that for Amir Garrett, it's the right combo of cards.
Breaking ball away to Brandon Nimmo. And I mean, you know, we say that flippantly, kidding around, but obviously they're getting matchups and where guys tend to hit the ball and all that kind of thing. And
there's a lot of work that goes into
those. That's joking around.
You know, we're just having fun with those things. I think it's great. It's a lot better than having a guy in the dugout waving a towel.
It's unbelievable.
Every team's doing it.
Yeah, preparation. A lot of work. Fastball in there, a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike on Nimmo. Nimmo faced a left-hander Peralta and drew a bases-loaded walk in the 4th inning. He was hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning. That is a fair ball. And the final out recorded by Amir. He'll sprint back to that dugout. He's going to race Votto to the dugout. And Votto's going to beat him. Light hold true moment after that final out. It's almost like Garrett yelled out at Votto, okay, foot race to the bag. All right, now foot race to the dugout. Look at him. He says something to Joey, and here they go.
Gotta have a little fun out there.
That is good stuff. All right, here we go now. 4-4 game. Seth Lugo, a right-hander, takes over on the mound for Zach Wheeler.
Lugo's been pretty good. He did just about everything for the Mets last year when he was a middle reliever, a starter, a closer. Struck out all 3 batters he faced in yesterday's win against the Brewers.
Top of the order for the Redlegs against Lugo here in the 7th. Peraza 1 of 3 at an RBI double up the left field line back in the 4-run 2nd inning. The Reds have not scored since then, obviously. They had 3 hits and 3 walks in that inning. They have 3 hits since that inning and no walks. Still 1-2 on Jose Peraza. And that ball shot into right center field. A base hit, a 2-hit night for Peraza, moving back into that leadoff spot tonight.
Maybe that was something David Bell was hoping to find, and it's worked out for him. 2 balls hit very hard, too. 3 of the 4 times up, he's hit the ball to right field. A couple of fly balls, and this one going opposite field on an inside fastball.
So now Votto, an infield roller that turned into a hit in the first inning, was intentionally walked in the second and looked at strike 3 in the fourth. It's a big chance for Votto. And down a strike. This is a part of the order. Here you are in the 7th inning of a 4-4 game. It's where you'd love to see this group at least get across a single run, if not more than that.
Well, you're doing it now against a setup man instead of having to try to do it later against a closer.
Well, Peraza does his part with a single to start the inning. Now, he's not been on base much, so he is infrequently having a chance to run much. He is 2 out of 3 in stolen base attempts. Well, that had some serious action on that pitch right there for strike 2.
I think that was his changeup that he doesn't throw very often at all. He throws his curveball much more than he does his changeup. He left that one right at the top of the zone. In command here, 0-2. Tried a curveball there.
Oh, 0-2 becomes 2-2 now on Votto. We'll keep it right there on the foul ball. Votto has 3 home runs. He has 6 doubles. Five runs knocked in. And today actually marks the start of the 2nd month of baseball for the Reds, starting, of course, that final week of March that was put into play last year.
Like we've seen so many times, Votto down early in the count, little by little, a couple of foul balls, a couple of pitches missed the zone. Now you've got a full count.
Got to believe Peraza is running here.
Did not have a lead at all, and he's extended it just a little bit. They may think so. They're going to toss over. We've seen David Bell put runners in play or in motion, and he is.
And a fly ball to center, hit pretty well, going back to the wall, and what a catch made out there by Lagares. And Peraza was on the run, so he's going to be unable to tag up.
Well, he was on the run because he thought that ball was going to be falling in for an extra base hit. Lagares goes back there. He won the Gold Glove in 2014, I believe, and makes a great catch right there. That ball just kept going and going when all the other balls that have been hit tonight seemed to die. That ball by Votto was really struck.
Well, you're right about that ball, unlike so many others we've seen here tonight, because leaving the bat, there were other balls, I don't know if you would agree with me or not, that appeared to be hit better than that one when it left the bat. Yeah, this carried the furthest of any of them.
What a great, it's a game-saving catch right here.
That's 408 out there. Double barrel action in the bullpen. You have Winker next. But right now it's Suarez, a leadoff hit by Peraza. This is where you'd really like to see Peraza. If he feels good about the man on the mound and the times match up, you'd love to get him in a scoring position here after the first out's been made in the inning. But just such a short lead over there. It just doesn't appear to be going anywhere. The stolen base with the majority of teams has become just so obsolete. The Reds have 4 of them total. Now their opponents have 17 of them. But the Reds have 4 stolen bases, and they've been thrown out a whopping 9 times. Now, not all those are straight steals where a guy's thrown out. There have been at least half of those where guys basically got picked off first base and went to second, and it goes as a caught steal. Peraza running this time. He got a much bigger lead, and he easily steals second base.
Well, he got a bigger lead. He got a good pitch to go on, which was a breaking ball, and not a good throw by the catcher Ramos. So all that together, unfortunately, a strikeout for Suarez, but you got a runner in scoring position right here.
Tell you what, if he hangs on to that ball, they might have had him out.
Interesting how McNeil catches that ball very deep. A lot of times you see an infielder catch it out in front of the bag and then sweep the tag back. But he will let that ball travel deep, thinking that maybe Peraza would slide right into the tag.
And by the way, it was strike 3 in the at-bat to Suarez. So they're going to intentionally walk Jesse Winker and leave the right-hander Lugo in to face Yasiel Puig. Puig has walked, scored, struck out looking, and doubled down the left field corner. Breaking ball, and I think Puig upset with himself there. That was a hanger. I think Puig a little upset with himself. What do you think?
Might be a setup act.
And then he gets hit. Looked like it got him in the left hand.
Or you could hear it all the way up here.
I think Puig was looking into the Mets dugout because Mickey Callaway is going to wonder whether that ball hit Puig or hit the knob of his back.
Yeah. Well, Callaway's going to ask for a review. I don't know if we can slow ours down enough.
Yeah.
In the replay room, they can slow it down frame by frame. I think it was a pretty good acting job on the part of Yasiel Puig.
Well, they're saying that they're going to bring it back.
Well, you could kind of tell when he didn't. The pain went away quickly, and he hovered around home plate rather than just put his head down and run off to first base. He passed half the audition.
Well, that was a quick decision. So now Puig in an 0-2 hole with 2 on, 2 out, 4-4 game in the 7th inning. Struck him out. Reds lead 2. Middle of the 7th. We're tied at 4. Game summary presented by Honda. Reds had it working in the 2nd inning. Drew 3 walks, had 3 hits, scored 4 runs, looking good. But back came the Mets in the bottom of the inning. Ramos, a RBI double. Rosario had a base hit. But then walks became a huge story. Tanner Roark just could not get out of his way in the 4th inning. Walked 4 batters, including a bases loaded walk. Peralta walked in a run coming on from the bullpen to replace him. Lorenzen did an excellent job in an inning and 2/3. And then the final out recorded with 2 on in that 6th by the man on the mound right now, Amir Garrett. 4-4. And it'll be 4, 5, and 6 in the Mets batting order. Conforto, Frazier, Ramos against Amir Garrett. This was the guy we told you a little while ago. Only Joey Gallo and the reigning National League most valuable player Christian Yelich have hit more home runs since the start of last year against left-handed pitchers than Michael Conforto. And that's good night, Irene.
Now they put him away with the slider right here. That's pitch number 4 up there, the very top right of the strike zone. It's set up with a fastball earlier, 95 miles an hour. Boy, Amir Garrett is just that 2-pitch combination he has right there. As long as he doesn't hang that slider on the inner part of the plate, left-handers will be on their heels.
Well, now we have another Redlegs run. Have a 5K, 10K, 1 mile family run or the Gappers Kids Fun Run. You get a custom race medal. Everybody gets a trophy. Race t-shirt and a Reds ticket voucher. All proceeds benefit the Reds Community Fund. Good stuff. Register today at reds.com/run. Todd Frazier, that's his music walking up there. And the new pitcher, David Hernandez. We talked about how good this guy has been. That ERA took a big hit yesterday, and those runs should have never scored. There was a ball that started that inning that should have been caught in the outfield. It wasn't caught, and it led to 3 runs, and they were all earned runs. Hernandez did walk a couple of batters, so not as sharp as he normally is.
Well, he was very unflappable about it after the game and on the plane ride in here to New York. Had a chance to talk to him a little bit. He goes, that just happens sometimes. He's been around long enough to understand that. You just kind of roll with that.
That game before he came in, you may remember, with the bases loaded and nobody out, and struck out 3 straight batters, and he has fanned Frazier, who has words with the home plate umpire. He thought that fastball was high.
I think everybody in the ballpark thought that was just a waste pitch right there. everybody except for the home plate umpire, Gabe Morales, and Hernandez will take that all day long.
Garrett faces two batters, retires them both with one on a strikeout. And now Hernandez, a strikeout of Frazier, and here's Ramos, 1 for 3 at an RBI double, scored a run in the second inning. It's not a homecoming, but a homecoming of sorts tonight. We were starting to talk about Amir Garrett. He played college basketball here for a short time for the Redmen of St. John's. Although I think they changed their nickname, right? It's got to be politically incorrect around here. Now they're the Red Storm, yeah. Bouncing ball. Iglesias to the glove side. And the inning is over. Great job by the Reds bullpen. Garrett and Hernandez in a perfect 7th. All right, gentlemen, look forward to catching up with you shortly. 29-year-old former closer of this team, Jeurys Familia, takes over on the mound. He's a setup guy around these parts now. I mean, you're talking about a guy that had back-to-back years of 43 saves and 51 saves.
Yeah, he's compiled 124 total in his big league career, all but one of those with the Mets. He did spend a little bit of time last year, 30 games worth with the Oakland A's, and then came back here to sign again. Now is the setup man.
All right, now look at the numbers there. What jumps off the chart for
He's
you?
not throwing the ball over the plate.
That's right. 11 innings, 10 walks.
And a couple of home runs, which means he's wild outside the strike zone and wild inside the strike zone.
Schebler to start things off. He'll be followed by Iglesias and then Tucker Barnhart. Should we get any further than that, it would be the pitcher spot. Well, the Reds are burning through pitchers in this one. They've already used Peraza, Lorenzen, Garrett, and Hernandez, with the starter Roark only lasting 3 2/3 innings. You can hear the crowd already. Familia is one of those guys that they have gotten on regularly around here. And the first sign of trouble, he will hear it from the crowd. They facetiously cheer that 2-0 strike.
That would be called the Bronx cheer.
Yes.
But you can't use that in Queens. They reserve that for Yankee Stadium.
Nearly 21,000 on hand here tonight on it's cold night. It's the first time we've been in this kind of temperature in a while. Three balls and 2 strikes on Schebler, trying to get aboard. Reds have had the leadoff man aboard in each of the last 2 innings. And he draws a walk. That's the second walk drawn tonight by Schebler.
Not sure about the move from Familia. I do know that the pop time, the catcher's ability to throw runners out for Ramos, he's very good.
And drilled in the back on the first pitch is Iglesias.
That'll knock the wind right out of you.
What was the miles per hour on that? I didn't see it before we took
94?
it down. 94?
Felt like 99, I'm sure.
I remember Mark Grace telling a story one time when he was playing for the Cubs and got hit in the back like that by Randy Johnson. And he said he did not feel right for almost 3 weeks. It hurt so bad. Maybe he got his arm in there before it hit him in the back. Not that makes it feel any better, but
of course, that's his throwing arm too. Oh no, so that's his left arm.
Well, he might be able to throw left-handed. Ooh. All right, so we haven't seen David Bell use the bunt a lot. But Chris, here, first and second base with nobody out. Arguably, Barnhart is the best bunter on this team. He was used frequently in this situation by Jim Riggleman last year.
And Derek Dietrich in the on-deck circle. So if they move him over, Dietrich will come up. They probably walk Dietrich, and then you turn the lineup over.
Tucker bunts it foul. If you're thinking about what happens after that.
And that would bring Peraza to the plate, and then, and then Votto.
Pulls the bat away. I tell you, the way Familia is going right now and so far this season, you wonder if he's capable of throwing 3 strikes before he throws 4 balls.
Yeah, that's why, you have an accomplished bunter up there with Barnhart. The whole idea is make him throw a strike. They're a lot easier to bunt than those that are outside the zone. Way up in the box.
One ball and 1 strike. And he puts it down perfectly. You can't roll it out there any better than that. So Barnhart does his job. And you can look straight into the Mets dugout now and take a look at their manager to see if they're just going to put up the 4 fingers. One would assume they are. Although they have a left-hander ready in that bullpen. Yep, they're going to intentionally walk Dietrich, just as you suspected they would.
Yeah, both managers know that that's going to happen. And this is probably the guy that they like to have up here. It's been a while since Peraza's had a 3-hit game. He's got a chance right here, though he doesn't need a hit. Fly ball into the outfield, and he's capable of that, is going to drive in the go-ahead run.
All righty, big trip now for Peraza. 2 hits and 4 at-bats with a run batted in, put back into that leadoff spot here tonight, despite struggling all year long. And a ground ball to third will turn into a double play. Frazier right next to the bag, and Peraza hit it right on the screws. Boy, tough luck. Take on the Giants. That'll be this coming weekend. Part of our Super Saturday. The first 20,000 fans through the gates receive a bobblehead of Mr. Redlegs in that 1869 Red Stockings uniform presented by Skyline Chili. Don't forget the Reds are going to be wearing those uniforms this weekend. Visit Reds.com/150 for ticket information. So the Reds are going to bring in their closer here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Raisel Iglesias.
Game number 12 on the year for Raisel. He's closed out a bunch of games, 6 of the 7 opportunities that he's had. A lot of strikeouts per innings. And he's got the bottom of the order, 8, 9, or 7, 8, and 9 coming up.
That'll be Rosario, followed by Lagares, and then a pinch hitter. Mets on their bench. They have Dominic Smith. Don't believe Cano is available. They did not put him on the injured list. They've already used Broxton. And they have J.D. Davis on down there along with their backup catcher. That's off the end of the bat. 1 out. They have that left-handed batter, Dominic Smith, standing in the on-deck circle. Reds will have 2, 3, and 4 in the 9th inning. Fly ball pretty well hit into deep left field, and that ball is off the wall. And Lagares will cruise into second base with a 1-out double. On a summer night, like a number of balls we've seen here tonight, that might have been out of here.
On a summer night in Cincinnati, this is a 12-10 game.
Yeah.
Little breaking ball that looks like he just hangs on the upper part of the zone on the inner third. Dangerous spot.
All right, so here is Dominic Smith.
24-year-old player, came up through the Mets organization, former #1 draft pick out of high school, 2013.
Has 4 runs batted in. He's walked 6 times. Spun out of the way there. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of at-bats and plate appearances. His on-base percentage is .531 so far this year. Now, again, not a ton of opportunities, but has made the most of them. He scored 7 times, walked 6 times without a home run. Ball 1 count on Smith. Ball 2 count on Smith. Iglesias, a lot of off-speed stuff here in this at-bat to the left-handed batting Smith. And now meeting on the mound. Reds have had to play so many games just like this game. 1-run games, 2-run games. Their pitching by and large has been so good. The offense so stagnant outside of a game here or a game there. Really 2 games where they exploded. 1 game against the Marlins and 1 game against the Cardinals. Outside of that, it's a lot of games like this. So much pressure on this staff. 2-1.
Well, not only on the pitching staff, but the coaching staff. To pull the right levers and push the right buttons, to who you bring in, what the matchups are going to be.
I mean, their offense got them 4 runs in the second inning. And they have had chance after chance after chance, just looking for one big hit. And they haven't been able to get it. They've left 4 on base in the last 2 innings. 3-1 to Dominic Smith. Straight up in the air. Two out. It's an interesting matchup here. Talked about McNeil, one of those rare high on base percentage guys who doesn't walk a lot. He had 7 walks the entire year coming into the game. Strangely enough, has 2 walks tonight. And they're going to intentionally walk him. And now it'll be Iglesias against the rookie Alonso.
Well, I think that what they like here is the matchup of Iglesias' breaking stuff against Alonso. One time he did hit the ball very hard tonight. It was on a fastball from Michael Lorenzen. He's walked once. He's struck out. That was on a breaking pitch. Hit a fastball for a ground out his first time up in the first inning.
7 walks have been issued by Cincinnati pitching tonight. That's the first intentional walk. There's that breaking ball in the first pitch.
Well, Alonso has shown himself to be pretty clutch. If you talk about facing relievers and what you're able to do against those guys who come in after the starters leave, we'll show you something on that. He has hit .389 with 8 home runs versus the relievers. So he's a guy that gets it done towards the end of the game. That's a scary note right there.
You see those numbers. That is scary. And again, for this guy, he's seeing everybody for the first time. It doesn't matter if it's a starter or a reliever.
See the ball and hit it.
Yep. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bottom fell out there to get ahead.
Changeup down and in. You don't see too many of those down in the minor leagues. Right on right changeups.
Lysell trying to put away the rookie Alonso, among the league leaders. Home runs and RBIs, but not this time. Iglesias strikes him out. And off we go to the 9th. Reds 4, Mets 4. It's before the start of every game on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, the main man on the mound tomorrow night. And that will be Luis Castillo. He of the sparkling 1, 2, 3 earned run average. Best in all of Major League Baseball. And he's at least gobbling up some innings for you. Been a lot of games where, you can say guys like Gray or Roark or Malley or whomever have pitched, good baseball, but by and large, most of them are done by the 5th inning. All right, here we go. In the top of the 9th, Edwin Diaz, former closer with the Mariners, brought in along with Cano during the offseason. And Votto, first pitch swinging, that'll be an easy out. Just like that, 1 pitch, 1 out for Diaz.
Diaz gets a lot of easy outs. He is the premier right-handed end of the bullpen guy here, probably in the league. The only guy who strikes out more normally would be Josh Hader. But he comes into this ball game having 20 strikeouts in 10 innings.
Pretty good. So is that or .84 ERA.
Well, he throws very hard. His fastball up around 98. He's got a very good slider, so that's a 1-2 punch that really accounts for all of his bodacious strikeout numbers.
20 strikeouts, and as Chris mentioned, the 2 walks. Reds pitchers have walked 6. Reds pitchers have walked 7. Two balls and a strike on Suarez. StatCast AI powered by AWS. And you see why they put such a dramatic shift on Suarez. Nearly 85% between the second and third base bags. I bet you Suarez would tell you, though, he's hitting his best when he's hitting the ball and driving the ball into right center with more frequency. Three and two. High fly ball.
Man, he just missed that.
That'll be out number 2. He's just missed 2 of them tonight. Drive right center field by Jesse. Yes, sir. DeWick with a long ball to give the Reds a 1-run lead here in the top of the 9th inning. Look at him. He's fired up down there.
Man, he knew it when he hit it. He jumped up and down in the batter's box. Man, oh man. Hey, we showed you that stat earlier about Jesse Winker. And what he hits on fastballs
that's
95 and up, or 94 and up, that was what, 95 or 96? And he turned on it right now.
Boy, was that ball hammered. On a night where we have seen a lot of balls hit hard, caught in front of the wall or at the warning track. Hell, even a couple of them tonight have been short of the track and you thought were killed. That ball was killed. As Jim Day would say, DeWick has struck again. Love that nickname that Jimbo gave him. There's a check swing roller. God, I wish Jim Day was in here. He's getting ready to go to the clubhouse. Because I know as soon as he sees him, not in the blink of an eye, but in the wink of an eye, the Reds go to the bottom of the 9th, leading by a run. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Toyota. For all your Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by First Financial Bank, we put your success first. Learn more at bankatfirst.com. Member FDIC. Here we go. Bottom of the 9th inning, and it'll be Iglesias on the mound. And he's facing 3, 4, and 5 in the Mets batting order, so he's got work to do against Nimmo, Conforto, and then Todd Frazier. Jesse Winker. A home run to right center to break the 4-4 tie here in the 9th inning. How about the StatCast numbers on that bomb by Jesse Winker? Let's check them out. You're a big exit velocity guy, Chris.
I like it when it comes in a tied game in the 8th inning.
That's my stat cast. But I'll tell you what, he hit that a bomb. You could tell by the way it sounded coming off the bat. I didn't get the final exit velocity.
It was almost 105.
105, plenty enough to get out of here.
I mean, they're giving it to him out there, and nobody likes that kind of talk more than Winker. I mean, that's right up his alley. You think you're getting on him, you're playing right into his hands. So a strikeout by Iglesias on Nimmo to begin the inning. You got a couple of guys now that can hurt you with one swing of the bat here in Conforto. And we know about Todd Frazier. Iglesias trying to get the win in this game. Came into a tie game. Milwaukee has already won. The Cardinals have already won tonight. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Struck him out.
Nasty.
Boy. Third strikeout in a row by Iglesias. Of course, we saw him strike out 9 batters in a row in San Diego.
His breaking stuff or off-speed stuff tonight, that looked like the changeup is just really working for him.
Iglesias is trying to get his first win. He's been a loser 3 times this season. League hitting .217 against this guy, but he's given up a couple of home runs in 12 innings. Well, that's gas there. 96 to get ahead of Frazier, 0-2.
From down low on the outside corner. What do you do with that? You look at it.
Oh, 2 trying to put him away. That was a fastball they threw up there to Frazier the last time, but they rung him up on.
He's probably thinking the same thing.
Well, you have one more out to go. Reds trying to get 5 1/3 innings of shutout baseball from its bullpen tonight.
Amazing.
Here's a 2-2. And they will get it as Iglesias fans aside in the bottom of the ninth. 5 1/3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. 2-hit shutout baseball. Iglesias allowed a hit. Lorenzen allowed a hit. Peralta walked in a run, but that was the first batter he faced. After that, zeros across the board for everybody. And Winker with the home run. He is our key performer, brought to you by your Tri-State Buick GMC dealers with this home run in the top of the ninth. And he knew it. So Jesse Winker breaks a tie, but the bullpen is just. I mean, you can. If there is one area of this team you compare to last year and this year, and it's not even night and day. It's a different galaxy.
Well, I mean, the entire pitching staff.
Oh, you're
run
right.
average
You're
of the
right.
starters are way better. In fact, they're the tops in baseball. Same way with the bullpen. But when you can call on the guys that David Bell has at his disposal, boy, he's pushing the right buttons right now as far as when to bring them in, when to give them some rest. This was a big win because the Reds came into this ball game 4-10 on the road. You got to win on the road a little bit. This is a good place to start right here.
There's a nice win. There's no doubt about it after letting a 4-0 lead get away. All right, Jesse Winker will be joining Jim Day in the postgame Reds Live, which begins after this commercial timeout. Reds win.